All right, guys. I just wanted to show you guys how we do this thing called mass percent. So I want to take you through a couple of the examples in your notes. So we're going to do this first one. It says calculate the mass percent by oxygen and KClO3. So any percent doesn't matter, right? Any percent is always the individual over the total. And then we just multiply it by 100. Okay. So in this case, the individual item, well, that's the oxygen. And then the total item, well, that's the potassium chlorate. So if we want to buy mass, we need to find out the mass of our things. Well, let's write it over here. Well, up top, we need to find the mass of O3 because there are three O's in this. And at the bottom is the total mass. That's going to be the mass of KClO3. Right, and then we multiply the whole thing by 100. So let's look at it down here. So the mass of O is 16. We're doing a little rounding here. And there are three of them. That's 16 times 3. That's 48. That's our numerator. And at the bottom is the mass of KClO3. Well, K is 39. Cl is 35. And it's right in the middle, we're 35.5. Plus, well, we know the three O's is 48 already. We just did that math. 48. And then that's going to give us our numerator, or I'm sorry, our denominator, our bottom number. So let's quickly do that. 30 plus 35. 122.5. And then we multiply it by 100. So if we solve, we will end up with 39.18% oxygen by mass. So that's saying, of the mass of this compound, of the 200 or of the 122.5 grams, almost 40% of that mass is oxygen. Now, let's say, all right, this question instead said, hey, once if it said, what's the mass of potassium? So we would redo the whole thing, but instead of finding the mass of O3, it would just be the mass of K up top. So you just replace whatever the element that is in question. That's your individual. The total is always the total. All right, let's look at number 2. Determine the mass percent of nitrogen and ammonium carbonate. Well, same idea. So for up here, so we need to know the mass of our N over our total mass. All right, well, let's take a look at this. This 2 goes inside. So there are 2 N's and there are 8 H's. All right, 2 and 8. So the mass of N, all right, up top is 14 times 2, because 2 N's is 14 times, that's 28. All right, let's figure out the bottom. All right, so 2 N's we said is 28, that's 2 N's. Each H is 1 gram, and there are 8 of them. So 1 times 8, plus carbon is roughly 12, and we just did this from above. O is 16 times 3, right? As 16 times 3. All right, and then whatever this is going to be our total. It's going to get rid of this 28 thing for now and put it somewhere else. So this is 28, and at the bottom, we've got 28 plus 8 plus 12 plus another 48, because that's what 16 times 3 is. We get 96. So now it's 28 divided by 96, and you get 29%. 29.16%. Right. So this is how you guys do mass percent questions. All right. I think you guys will have a pretty good time with this one.